Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're venturing out to the rural heartlands, far from the city lights. We're going to uncover some really, ingenious ways landowners are finding unexpected new revenue streams. Now, you might be thinking traditional farming, maybe ranching, right? But our sources for this deep dive suggest there's this common, often overlooked asset hiding in plain sight, really, and it could significantly boost a rural property's financial health. So, how are some landowners managing to turn things around in today's, let's face it, tough economic climate? Our mission today is to explore how they're getting incredibly creative, to adapt and, thrive. Okay, let's unpack this.
It's truly remarkable how deeply ingrained that traditional mindset is for so many landowners,
Mm.
especially in places like Kansas,
Mm.
which serves as a great example for our discussion. For them, cattle and crops aren't just a business, it's their whole way of life, their bread and butter, as they say. And the sheer scale alone is striking. Kansas, for instance, has an estimated 6 million cattle. Compare that to a human population of just under 2.9 million.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
It is. That's an immense amount of land dedicated to agriculture. But the fundamental challenge, as our sources point out, is making that traditional land use actually pencil out, making it financially viable, profitable, with all the rising costs they're facing now.
Right. And that context of just vast agricultural land is so crucial. Across many agricultural states, you just picture these endless fields and pastures, don't you? Our sources paint a pretty vivid picture of this. You've got the fertile, lush fescue pastures in the east, areas often called cool season fescue pastures, great for grazing early in the year. Then you move towards the iconic native tall grass prairies in the Flint Hills, those rolling hills in central Kansas.
Classic landscape.
Exactly. Known for their unique ecology. And then way out west, on the high plains, you find the drier, shorter grass pastures. But every single one of these diverse ecosystems is ultimately dedicated to agriculture, mostly feeding livestock. And while every ranch manager, has their own methods, varies by area, season, whatever, the core goal is always, always the same. Profitability, that crucial bottom line. Whether you're trying to get ahead, expand operations, or maybe just cover the annual property taxes, it's all about that net income. But here's the kicker. Like you said, in today's climate, achieving that, easier said than done, with the rising costs of, virtually everything imaginable. Feed, fuel, you name it. Landowners are really feeling the squeeze.
Exactly. Those financial pressures are creating a real necessity for landowners to innovate, to get creative. The core idea emerging from our source materials is what they call doubling down on land usage.
Doubling down.
Yeah, but this isn't about replacing existing operations like cattle or crops, not at all. It's about finding a complementary, sort of non-interfering secondary revenue source.
Ah, okay. So using the same land differently at the same time?
Precisely. Think of it as making your existing land work twice as hard, without adding an extra burden to your main business. It's about identifying something that could potentially generate even more income than, say, just renting out the grazing rights, which is quite something.
That is something.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't just a local fix for Kansas, right? It's a really compelling example of smart resource optimization, especially in this changing economic landscape. It's really about looking at your assets differently and asking, what else can this land offer me?
So let's talk about that different look. What is this often overlooked resource? Our source material points to something specific on mixed-use land. And they have this really intriguing line that stuck with me. Cattle don't eat trees.
Huh. Simple but effective.
Right. It's such a simple statement, but it perfectly pivots our thinking. We're talking about those non-grazing areas. Imagine the woods down in that deep gully or valley. They often call it a deep draw in ranching terms. Or maybe that brushy patch across the creek. Or those rugged, rocky ravines over the ridge. What some call coulees.
Yeah. Areas not typically farmed or ranched.
Exactly. Maybe hard to access, too rough, or they just don't grow good feed. Historically, they've kind of been written off as unproductive, wasted space almost. But what if those acres could become productive in a totally new way? Because, get this, Kansas alone has an estimated deer population of 650,000.
That's a significant number.
It's a lot of deer. So that the question becomes pretty obvious. How does one actually, monetize these non-grazing areas? What's the practical step? How do you turn this overlooked resource into, income?
Well, the proposed solution for monetizing these previously underutilized parts of the property is actually quite straightforward. It's leasing hunting rights.
Oh, okay. Hunting leases.
Exactly. This approach turns those unproductive wooded or brushy areas into genuinely valuable assets. And our source highlights the potential here is pretty significant, stating that this secondary income could, and I quote, even potentially generate more income than he gets from renting out the grazing rights.
Wow. More than the cattle grazing.
Potentially, yes. So this isn't just like pocket change. It's not just supplemental income. It could actually be transformative for landowners' overall profitability.
Hmm.
And this raises a really important question, doesn't it? What exactly constitutes productive land?
Good point.
This model really redefines it. It shows that value can be found in more than just traditional agricultural output. It definitely challenges that old assumption that if cattle don't eat it, it's not valuable.
That's a huge shift in perspective, a really huge shift. And the benefits of leasing land for hunting, they seem to go far beyond just the potential for, a significant cash injection. Of course, that's the most obvious one. Our sources call it annual income generation. Makes sense. As they explain, this extra revenue can directly help pay those ever-increasing taxes, insurance, other land costs, which, as we discussed, are only going up.
Critical these days.
But it also offers a practical solution to a common problem for many landowners: controlling excessive deer populations. Leasing your property means you can manage herd levels, keep them healthy, which is good for the ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
And it protects your crops and grazing areas that might otherwise get overbrowsed by too many deer.
Definitely a co-benefit.
But it's not just about the money or the deer numbers, is it? Here's where it gets really interesting. What other, maybe less obvious advantages do the sources highlight for landowners thinking about this?
Right, exactly. Beyond the direct financial stuff and the herd management, there are several other less obvious but really significant advantages. One is enhanced land management.
How so?
Well, our sources explain that hunters who are, invested in your property often have a keen interest in developing the land, improving it, making it more sustainable for wildlife populations. They might help improve habitat, which benefits the whole ecosystem, not just the deer.
Okay, so they're contributing positively.
Yeah. Then there's a presence on the land.
Oh.
Just having responsible individuals present on your property, especially during certain seasons, can act as a deterrent.
Against trespassers, poachers.
Exactly. Trespassers and poachers. It provides an invaluable extra layer of security and oversight for your property, like an extra set of eyes.
That makes sense.
And finally, a very tangible benefit: in-kind investments and services.
Mm-hmm.
Hunters who are really invested often pay for improvements themselves. Things like maintaining fences, establishing food plots for wildlife, maybe even helping with general land maintenance, stuff like that.
So they're actually putting sweat equity or cash into the property.
Sometimes, yeah. So it's really not just about getting cash. It's about better property stewardship, increased security, and even fostering these positive relationships that enhance the overall value and management of the land. It's a much more holistic approach than you might first think.
That's a great point about the holistic benefits. That really broadens the appeal. But I can already hear some listeners thinking, okay, sounds good on paper, maybe.
Yeah.
But how do you actually manage the logistics? And more importantly, the security side of having people you don't know on your property. Hunting.
Sure, that's a valid concern.
It's a natural and very valid concern for any landowner, right? Strangers with guns, essentially. Our sources anticipate this. They point to the role of experienced services like one called Base Camp Leasing. Apparently, they've been helping landowners navigate this for over 20 years. So they have experience. So how do they ensure landowners feel comfortable and secure, especially when you're bringing in hunters? What are the safeguards?
Yeah, that's absolutely crucial. And the source material details several safeguards and features offered by these kinds of services. They really aim for a, quote, very responsible, respected, and controlled program. Key protections include things like professional contracts, that's vital for legal clarity, outlining expectations, rules.
Right, get it in writing.
Exactly. They also offer significant liability insurance, often up to like $5 million, which addresses a major worry for landowners.
Okay, that's substantial.
It is. And they carefully manage the experience by limiting the number of hunters on your property.
Yeah.
You're not overrun. Plus, you know exactly who those hunters are. There's transparency. What's more, landowners retain complete control over their involvement. You can be as hands-on or hands-off as you like.
So you can meet the hunters or let the service handle it.
Pretty much. Allow the service to handle most of the details if you prefer. And the human element is also important, as the sources note. It says, it is not uncommon for our hunters to become good friends with our landowners and even help them out with projects from time to time, so you can build a relationship of trust and mutual respect.
That's interesting. Community building, almost.
In a way, yes. Ultimately, it's about having, as we said, an extra set of eyes for property oversight. And the peace of mind that comes with a well-managed program, the goal is clear, and they state it. At the end of the day, you have to be comfortable with the whole situation. And that is what we strive to accomplish. And to also get you that additional income. It's a dual focus.
That really seems to cover a lot of bases, doesn't it? From the legal and financial protections to the more, well, personal aspects of comfort and security. And it sounds like it makes this option reliable for a really wide range of landowners, too. I mean, whether you're, say, the young couple with maybe 80 acres just outside of town looking for a way to ease property taxes, or you're the fourth generation rancher with, 2,500 acres spread out way out in the middle of God's country.
Big difference in scale.
Huge difference. But both might be grappling with rising operational costs. It seems like this creative approach to land management isn't just for a select few. It sounds like a pretty widely applicable strategy.
Absolutely. And what's truly compelling here, what's fascinating here, is how this model encourages such a holistic view of land use and value. It's about moving beyond that conventional thinking, isn't it? And truly identifying and then monetizing these overlooked assets on your property. Our deep dive today has shown that this can dramatically shift the financial landscape for landowners. It's not insignificant, offering not just an additional income stream, which is key, but also providing these multiple co-benefits and enhance land management, boost security, and even foster positive relationships. It's a really powerful example of how resourcefulness can redefine what we consider productive land and how we approach property stewardship overall.
Absolutely, a really powerful example. And this deep dive hopefully offers you a shortcut to understanding an innovative approach to land management and revenue generation that's happening right now across rural areas. And maybe it leaves us with a compelling thought to mull over. If even the historically unproductive parts of a ranch, the woods, the draws, the brushy patches, can actually generate significant income, what other overlooked assets might be hiding in plain sight? Maybe in your own life or in your own business endeavors, something to consider until our next deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us.